Welcome to the GameRamble video review for Mutropolis, narrated by me, Darkcloud. As always, the full text version of this review can be found on the GameRamble website linked below. The TLDR is that players get to join Henry de Jean in an archaeological adventure to save his kidnapped professor from the clutches of an ancient Egyptian god. Mutropolis is set in the year 5000, where Earth has become a wild and inhospitable place, so Henry will need his wits about him to succeed in his quest. Fortunately, Henry has a team of very capable colleagues assisting him on this rescue mission. Mutropolis requires some patience and out-of-the-box thinking, but it's a very impressive debut that deserves to be played by fans of the genre. Gameplay receives an 8 out of 10. Some of the puzzles are tricky, but very rewarding to solve. Graphics receives a 9 out of 10. The hand-drawn visuals are beautiful and charming. Sound receives an 8 out of 10. The game features great voice acting and a nice chill soundtrack. The overall score for Mutropolis is 8.3 out of 10. And now for the full review. Mutropolis, the debut title from Pirata Studio, is a point-and-click adventure that stands out with its unique blend of science fiction and archaeology. Set in the year 5000, it paints a future where Earth was abandoned in favor of Mars, and most of humanity's greatest achievements have been forgotten. Players assume the role of Henry de Jean, an archaeologist on expedition on Earth. His mentor, Total, is convinced that the legendary city of Mutropolis is real, but Henry and the rest of the team are a little more skeptical. However, their excitement over finally finding some evidence of Mutropolis is short-lived, as Total is kidnapped. It also becomes clear that the police have little interest in solving the case, which prompts Henry and his team to mount a rescue themselves. As far as debut titles go, especially ones created by a team of only 2 people, Mutropolis is undoubtedly a very impressive effort. Not only is the story, which mixes science fiction with archaeology, very humorous, but the game is also filled with memorable characters and locations. Over the course of 3 chapters, players get to explore more than 50 hand-drawn scenes, while solving more than a few head-scratching puzzles. We like to consider ourselves point-and-click adventure veterans after completing pretty much everything released in the genre's heyday, but Mutropolis had us stumped on a few occasions. This is primarily because the game does not hold your hand, so you must pay attention to your surroundings and what is being said in conversations. Mutropolis is also not shy about throwing a few red herrings in your path, so we wasted a lot of time trying to acquire items we thought we needed, only to find much easier alternatives. Whether you find this humorous or frustrating will depend on how much patience you have though. Visually, Mutropolis is a treat, with its attention-grabbing hand-drawn art and unique lanky character designs. The game's scenes are filled with homages and Easter eggs, making exploration a delight. The animations are decent, and in terms of presentation, Mutropolis holds its own against games by much larger teams. Pirata Studio opted for a very clean interface, so there's nothing on-screen to distract from the visuals. Instead, hovering the mouse cursor over something of interest will display its name if it can be interacted with. Players can then left-click on the item, which Henry will pick up if he can, or describe if he can't. It may feel weird at first for players who are used to right-clicking on items to get a description, but it works well overall. Once items are inside Henry's inventory, players can drag them over an eye icon to get a description. Upon its initial release, Mutropolis did not have a hotkey to highlight hotspots, meaning that some pixel hunting was required at times. However, since the publication of this review, the developers have released an update that allows players to press the spacebar when they feel lost, and the game will automatically highlight spots they can interact with. The puzzles are logical for the most part, but as is par for the genre, there are a few situations where some out-of-the-box thinking is required to make progress. In total, it took us about 14 hours to complete Mutropolis, but we were stuck a few times because we didn't spot something vital in the scene, or were chasing those damn red herrings. The game is fairly linear, so even with many locations opened up to players, it's possible to get stuck on a puzzle that will bring the story to a grinding halt. This means there isn't much replay value once the game is completed, although Mutropolis does have a couple of optional Steam achievements for completionists to figure out. Surprisingly for a game by such a small team, Mutropolis features full voice acting for the entire cast of characters. Even better, the voice acting is really good and definitely elevates the whole experience. The way in which some lines are delivered, especially by Henry and Isis, also adds to some of the humor. The soundtrack is quite chill but very fitting, and the game has plenty of sound effects that add some life to the various scenes. Overall, Mutropolis is a great point-and-click adventure with a decent challenge for both newcomers and veterans of the genre. The puzzles can be tricky, but it's impossible to die or do anything wrong, so players are free to try anything. The story takes a few unexpected turns, especially when the gods of ancient Egypt become involved, and the humor kept us entertained. Like most point-and-click adventures, it's not a game for the easily frustrated, but players are not afraid to put their problem-solving skills to good use will have a blast. With Mutropolis, Pirata Studios created an interesting game world with a charming cast that we would love to see in future titles. Thanks for joining me for this Mutropolis PC review. Remember to like, subscribe and share. Until next time.